Everyone.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what's going on over there, John?
All right, I am at Goddess and the Grocer here in the Bucktown neighborhood. They just opened up this patio today, and of course it started raining on all of us. But they have a little rum punch, and they're going to give me treats all show long. But it's a great view outside. A little bit later when the rain stops, I'll show you their great view. But this is Goddess and the Grocer, and they're going to be treating me all show long. Oh, you want a little bit, Deanna?
I'm empty. I'm dry over here. What's going on?
By the way, I'm trying to be quiet because there's like other people here, and I tried to warn them that we're about to do a TV show, but I don't think they're entirely convinced. So I'll try and be a little quieter, but cheers to that.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. We are so jealous, but glad you're able to bring us an awesome view of outside. Is the rain going to stop anytime soon?
Yeah, it's on and off. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you guys the radar right now, what we're dealing with here. Spotty showers pretty much right where we are in the Wicker Park neighborhood. A lot of them have moved off to the lake. Let me try and play this sucker again a little bit faster on through. But you can see they pop up, they go away. It's nothing too bad, not any torrential downpours, just a shower or two, maybe a rumble of thunder, and then it's done with. And then behind that, we'll have sunshine. So we got to about 80 degrees today, not too humid out there, which is really good. But again, juiced enough in the atmosphere, and with a little front coming through, we've had a few showers. Sunset at 8:29 p.m. Tomorrow looks like the best day of the bunch over the next 5 or 6. We're going to be nice and comfortable at 84, low humidity before the heat returns on Friday. We get some scattered storms. Oh, I hear thunder behind me. Scattered storms on Saturday, and then it just gets muggy Friday pretty much through the early parts of next week.
Okay, we'll be standing by for the good weather. Bring it our way, John.
I deserve my first sip, and they're bringing me burgers soon, so.
I gotta say, John, you talking lower makes me want to talk lower. And
okay, no.
I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
You guys yell.
Yell at John. Yell at John. John prefers when you yell at him.
Yes, always, always.
Guys, let's welcome in our first guest, Gina Brillon. She is a comedian, she's an actress, and she has just so much in front of her, and particularly a new Amazon Prime comedy special that we need to talk about. But her future is shining bright, and she's here to share some of it with us. Hey, Gina.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey.
We are doing good, and so much better now because we're ready to laugh.
Yes.
You are funny.
So much. I appreciate it. My mama thinks so.
Yeah.
All that counts at the end of the day.
I like those candle sconces behind you. Very classic, very cool.
Super classy, you guys.
So you have a new Amazon Prime comedy special. That's exciting.
Yes, I do, and I couldn't be happier with how everything turned out, honestly. It was a real labor of love, and everything just came out so beautifully.
I love the name of it, The Floor is Lava, because I think anyone who grew up in the 80s or 90s can identify with what that game is.
Yep.
Why'd you choose that?
I always love when like artists name like an album after a song that's on the album, or when comics have a story and that becomes the name of the special. And because I talk about the game The Floor is Lava in the special, when we were looking at titles and that was one of the titles, I was like, oh, that's it. That's definitely it.
Wait, we gotta explain it. We gotta explain it for all
we got
the
two 90s babies here, so.
Well, no, I was gonna say for all the single children, the people who didn't have siblings.
Yeah, the game's been convoluted over the years.
Yeah, the only children, I should
say. It used to be a game where, for me, it was like a game that us broke kids in the neighborhood played. You didn't have to have money to play The Floor is Lava. You just had to be able to jump on things, and so. The whole concept was we'd be in our house and we would jump on the furniture and pretend that the floor is lava, which my parents were thrilled about. And you just couldn't touch the floor. That was the whole rule. You had to find a way to jump around the living room or around whatever room you were without touching the floor.
Yes. And then
how
many siblings did you play this with?
Well, altogether there's 5 of us, but I think since me and my sister were the youngest, it was pretty much me and my identical twin sister.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Oh, you really took me back to some nostalgic times. Kids are not that creative these days.
No, they all have iPads and cell phones and everything, and they don't know how to have fun without an object.
Well, they can't let their phone touch the lava, otherwise it'll crack the screen. So that's what they have to worry about instead.
Exactly. Then how will they make TikToks?
Gina, is that sort of where you draw a lot of your inspiration from, your childhood, your family life, what that was like growing up? Is that what comes out a lot in your comedy?
Absolutely. I think I draw from a lot of my life experiences because I feel like we all have similar experiences that we can connect through. And the more I talk about that, the more I can see a room full of different diverse people just looking at each other and nodding and going, oh my God, I went through that, you went through that. And I love that. I love that moment of people just connecting with a story I'm telling.
Mm-hmm.
It is so amazing. Gina, when you think about The Floor is Lava and having an Amazon Prime special and, coming out and, when we were talking like, how do you pronounce your name? And you said brillo, you roll the R, being a Latina, what does that mean for you to be able to come all this way, share your story and let others know that they too, if they push hard enough, can be where you are?
I mean, it means the world to me. I think it's been a goal of mine to put that message out there, for all people of color, for all, like, not just for Latinas, not just for, just for people that feel like they're never told they can achieve their dreams. I like being able to tell them, but like, you can, like, if I can do it, and I have no special powers. I have no special powers or no hookups here or there. It was just hard work and determination. If I can do it, I believe that you can do it too. And being able to say that and have the proof to be able to say, like, look at what I've done in my career. Had I had, you know, a no faith in myself or whatever, I wouldn't have done this. And so because I did have that faith of, no, I can do this, I can do this, I really believe that for other people. You want to be an architect, go be an architect. You want to be a singer, go be a singer. You want to be a drummer in a rock band, go for it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And people
But
have
you
to
do
understand that challenges, come up no matter what, no matter if you have the hookup, no matter if you don't have the hookup. And I think that's what builds character inside of all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you can look at an obstacle two ways, it can be something that stops you, or it can be something that makes you course correct.
You said
Mhm.
no special powers, but you do have talent. You are funny.
uh,
Not everybody has that.
I think that's where I think when as a kid, I realized that was like a strength and a passion for me. I was like, I love making people laugh. Like, how can I do this for the rest of my life? Like, just, I knew what I loved. And I think that's key, is like, where is your passion? Find your passion, and that will lead you down that, purposeful path.
We have seen you on other TV shows too, doing guest appearances, recurring roles. How hard is that? Stand up is obviously yours. That is your
Yes.
stage. You own it. You operate it, and that's great and that's bad all at the same time. What's it like jumping on trying different roles and trying to get into something really quickly?
It's an adjustment, honestly, like, to go from acting from stand up to acting, because you are in the driver's seat as a stand up comic. You are the writer, producer, director, actor. You're at every role. And so when you go from that, it's about being able to listen, which was something I had to learn. Being able to listen, being able to respect the writers, and not looking at something and going, oh, because I'm a comic, I can make this funnier. No, it's respecting the work that you're given, respecting the writers and the directors and what you're told, and just letting go. Learning how to relinquish that control and being like, okay, this is not about me. I'm now this character. Whatever they want from me, I'm going to have to work with that.
That's awesome. Hey Gina, you're from the Bronx, right?
Yes.
So you understand when it starts storming and then it comes sunny 5 minutes later. I had to
Mhm.
set up inside. I'm going to quickly let the ladies chat with you while I move back outside because we just had a storm pass through. So I'm going to go back to the balcony.
I
John,
totally
you
feel you.
passed it this way and now it's right outside. It's literally
Hey,
here.
as long as I got my rum punch, I'm happy. You guys talk amongst
Yes.
yourselves.
Oh, rum punch. Yes. Okay.
I know.
Oh,
Now he's
yeah.
just showing off for us. Of course, I Instagram stalked you, Gina, before this.
Yes.
And you have some new news, a new joy that you're adding to your life come July. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I am expecting my first child ever in July, and it's a new challenge, and it's scary and exciting and
Yeah.
fascinating and weird, and it's all these mix of things that I've been enjoying during the pregnancy, and I'm in my pretty much my final month. I'm at month 8, and so next month is the big show.
You're going to be releasing your best work yet.
Yeah, that's right. My next project drops July 17th.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Congratulations.
exciting. Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
you.
Gina, and and I have had this conversation with other moms and entrepreneurs and women in the industry where, they don't want to differentiate like being a mom and, having a career. I think that that's the power of being women, right? That we can do both. I don't have any children, so I'm just speaking off of like my imagination, but I'm assuming it's a different type of responsibility that you mesh together. There's like no getting out of being a mom.
yeah, there's no escaping your schedule, and that's something I think, um, because obviously I've worked with comics that are female comics who are moms too, and I've seen them just, I mean, they amaze me. They amaze
Hmm.
me with the level of things that they get done in a day, their level of efficiency. I feel like, again, you can look at it two ways. Some people look at it, and I mean, I had people say this to me like, "Wow, you're gonna have a baby now. I mean, your career is just
Hmm.
taking off. Like, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Still work, dummy." I'm still gonna I'm still gonna work.
And they
I'm gonna
never
figure
say
it out.
that to men. They don't
Never,
say that.
never. It's never a conversation they have with men that are having families where the assumption is, oh, your wife will take care of everything. Oh, your
Hmm.
wife is the one that's gonna do that. So you can continue working. And it's like, no, first of all, it should be an even balance of
Hmm.
everybody working together. But there is a lot of pressure on women as the moms for a lot of reasons. One, when you have a baby, especially a newborn, you are the only source of food. You are often the strongest source of comfort because the baby was actually inside you. So there's a little bit more of, that feeling of
It's
they
a
know you.
different connection.
Yeah. So there's a lot more pressure on you. But I mean, I think just because I've been like this my whole life, I'm like, all right, I welcome the pressure. I welcome the let's figure this out. Like, it's just about figuring out a plan.
Yeah, I know a lot of women also say that that pressure makes them even better because now they don't have room to fail. There is no room to slack off. There it does not
Yeah.
exist. It makes you go even harder. John, in case you missed it, she's having a baby next month.
And it's almost a John birthday baby. I gotta say, if you can hold that thing off
Hey,
10 more days, we're gonna share a birthday. Get him make him make. Is it? Wait, did you say a boy or girl? Do you know
he's a
yet or no?
boy. He's a boy.
Okay, can you
Make
hold them in 10 extra days?
make him a
Heard
Leo.
that?
That's gonna help.
You heard that?
Now,
I'm gonna need
now,
you to be a Leo.
Did you hear
now,
that? Do as I
now,
say so.
now, Gina, are you ready for the influx of all the new material you're about to get? Because you're gonna get a ton.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Like, people have this fear of like, oh, I'm only gonna write mommy stuff. Oh, I can't wait to write mommy stuff. I I can't wait for it because I do feel like there's this, and thank God we're in the times we're in now where, as before, I think people would have rolled their eyes at the thought of a mother doing stand-up comedy. Whereas now it's like, look at, you have Ali Wong, you have Amy Schumer, you have all these women out there talking about it and fearlessly talking about it. So the stigma's been lessened. It's been, almost not done away with completely because you still have people that are like that, but there's so much strength in it now, and that's so comforting.
Hmm.
That's so
And just to have the power of a woman too. I mean, I was seeing some of your stand-ups and some of the clips from there, and you're talking about things that we talk about with our friends that people are not a lot of times feel comfortable. They don't have the courage to get out there and say it on a stage. That's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. But we relate to it. We find the relatability in it.
I would love that. I love that I can look at women in the audience and see that. Like, oh, thank God she said it. Like, oh, thank God she said it. Maybe now my husband or boyfriend will understand because it's coming from another person. Like, do you
Right.
see? This is what I try to tell you. And also for other women just to look at me and be like, oh, I've been waiting for somebody to connect with me on that thought because I thought it was just me. We tend to keep so much of our thoughts and our, and the things that bother us and our fears and our worries and everything inside, that I like to bring them to light and be like, yeah, no, you're not the only one. We're actually all connected by these similar fears.
Yeah. The particular clip that I saw was how when you met your husband and how you had a different plan for your
Yes.
single life. And
Oh
then
yeah, girl.
he made you an honest woman.
He did. It's like a divine intervention. I was divinely hoe blocked. I was I was ready to live my best whole life. I had given up. I was like, I'm done. I'm done looking for a
Yes.
man.
See, you could say that. I can't say that. I can't say that. But that's how I talk with my friends.
That's because there's a stigma of it still for a woman to say that. And I'm like, it's not a bad thing. It's literally out of frustration 90% of the time that you're just like, you know what, I'm done. None of you want to get
Yeah.
serious with me. So why should I
Right.
waste my time? And that literally was my attitude of like, after going through 2 years of singlehood and not finding anybody that wanted to actually have a relationship, I
Yeah.
was like, or somebody who met me day one and wanted a relationship. And I was like, you might murder me. So
Yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gina, do
Oh,
not
yeah.
let
You got to watch
Felicia.
out for those. See, I was just looking to have a good time. Hey.
Yes, I was gonna say, Gina, do not let Felicia fool you. She talks about her single days all the time. We called it 5 guys a week when she was in college.
You know what? You know what?
My
More
hot-
power
my
to
hot-
you.
My hot girl life became a hot girl wife.
Exactly. That's what it turns into. It turns
Yes.
into that hot girl summer became my hot girl marriage. That was
I
it.
know. It was over with.
I can't comment because I'm still in that phase. I'm not married yet, so don't ask me anything.
Live your life, then. Live your life. Go out and
Amen.
have fun.
Because the rest of us can't.
Yeah, go out and live it up. We're living vicariously through all your crazy stories.
Yeah.
Gina, do you have a jealous streak in you?
Oh yes, my husband knows this. He can't even say somebody's pretty on TV, and I'm like, oh really? So you like that? You like that? That's what you like? Because that's not what you married. You married this.
Right. It better be the same type, okay?
Yeah. Unless you look exactly like me. Unless you're talking about America Ferrera, we need to have a conversation about who you like. Who you like? Oh, she blonde? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not blonde. Let's have a conversation. I am. He knows this. He accepts this. He accepts this. He finds it very charming.
Is he ready for dad life?
As ready as you can be.
Yeah, right.
I feel like the dads are not ever really prepared until they're like, because it's not real until they hold the baby. Like
Right.
for me, it's real because I'm experiencing the whole thing.
You are
But,
holding
like,
the
for him,
baby.
I'm holding the baby, quite literally.
Yes.
I can feel that I'm holding the baby. And for him, I think it's gonna hit him when he's actually holding the baby. Because right now everything is just like, oh, there's baby stuff everywhere, and that's cute, and there's, it's all cutesy. But I think for the moms, it becomes so real that everything changes, priorities change, everything changes because you physically are changing. So it's like you're so aware of the physical changes in your body, which are bananas, by the way.
Yeah, but there's also science behind that though, because they say like it's not just you thinking that it's changing. Like no, it's hormonal. It is mentally, physically, it's emotionally. Like there are chemicals that are being released inside of your body that says you are changing, that emits that.
Yeah.
And so it's completely different.
Oh yeah, you find yourself doing all the stuff that they tell you that you're gonna do as a pregnant woman, and Defiant me was like, I'll never. And of course, right away I was like talking to my belly and like rubbing my belly.
Yeah, I read all that.
Told you.
I read all that in a parent magazine at the gynecologist.
Yes, it's true. It's very true what they say. As much as you want to go against and be like, I would never do that. No, I do it all.
It's real science, folks.
I play music for him. Everything.
Gina, I don't know if you're sick of this question. I want to ask about comedy because everyone's focused now on cancel culture and trying not to offend people. What is your view on that? Do you appreciate hearing from your audience what kind of might be too much? Do you try and listen to that, or you just be yourself and whatever happens, happens?
I mean, honestly, it's annoying, but as a performer, it's just annoying because you're just like, okay, no matter how careful you are, I consider myself a pretty careful person, wording wise and subject wise, only because I started in this business so young. I had to be aware of it because I was like 17, 18 years old when I started. So my parents would come to shows. So I was always hyper aware of what I was saying on stage. But even I've been told like, oh, this bit is inappropriate, or this bit was pulled out, and I would be lying if I said it didn't hurt to a certain extent as a performer, because a lot of people automatically go to, I'm angry, forget that, I'm not guilty of this, and they don't want to apologize for it. But for me, I think that's the initial hurt of like an unintended offense, where it's like, I didn't intend to offend you. And instead of saying that, we go to anger and get defensive. That wasn't my intent. But does intent matter when somebody is pointing something out to you that you didn't see? And I think that's the biggest discrepancy. It's like, sure, that wasn't your intent, but I'm telling you as a person who was offended by it, that maybe you should consider what this could mean to other people. And I've had that happen maybe like 2 times, and I've had some very meaningful conversations because I wasn't closed off to it. You can get angry and get closed off, but that doesn't create a dialogue with somebody that helps you grow as a person, where it's like, oh, I didn't realize that I was saying something disrespectful. It's like this ignorance. It's that, that microaggression kind of ignorance that you're just like, oh, I didn't know.
And that that doesn't mean you have to change the joke necessarily. You could frame it differently if you know where you're coming from. And I think that sometimes when you learn a little bit about someone else and you have that dialogue, there's more humor to be had anyways, because you can have that appreciation.
Yeah. There's also a difference between when it's like one person that's particularly offended,
right,
and a group of people that are like, no, this was wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between that too, because if you take this one person, you can't please everybody. And unfortunately, that's a thing you have to take with you, is like, I don't want this person to not like me, but also if you don't like me, all you have to do is not follow me or my career.
Right. Right.
It's a simple solution. And people, instead of doing that, it's like they want to come at you and attack you. And as a performer, you start to lose interest in that one person now. It's like, I tried to have a meaningful conversation with you, but now it's done. You're one person. Please block, delete. I can't.
Man, doing comedy sounds like your title of your special, The Floor is Lava. You got to be careful where you're jumping.
Yeah,
It
and you know
sure
what, Gina?
is.
I've seen a lot of comedians and a lot of other people in the industry either share their political views or share where they stand for certain movements or don't stand for certain movements, and right away lose a ton of followers. So can comedians express what they stand for, what they believe, without having that harsh backlash from fans? Is that something that you just learned, like you have to not say those kind of things on social media?
Well, one of the things I think people need to understand is that once a comic gets to the point where they're putting their opinion out there and they're putting where they stand on something out there, they don't care if they lose followers. So if you stop following them because of that, you're doing them a favor, because what they're doing is showcasing their passion about whatever it is they're talking about, whatever movement, whatever law, whatever politician, whatever. And if you stop following them, they're going, okay, well, clearly that person doesn't know me at all
Right.
and didn't know where I was coming from. So it's not so much losing followers. I mean, that's a bummer, I think, when you're in like the beginning stages of comedy and you're building your followers and you're building your fan base. If you're somebody like Kevin Hart and you lose 1,000 followers, but you have 2 point something million followers, you're going, all right, well, those 1,000 followers, guess they don't mess with me anymore. It's not going to affect my ticket sales too much. But if you have 1,200 followers and you lose 300 of them, that affects you a lot more. So it depends on where you're at.
Yeah, I've been talking with some like up and coming comics. I mean, Chicago, obviously a comic haven for people. And they say, yeah, it's really easy for Ricky Gervais to go up there and say, oh, if I offend you, who cares? But these comics who are trying to make it, man, one wrong thing that gets the wrong people on the internet when you're just getting started can be detrimental. So it really is it's a fine line, a tightrope you got to walk.
Yeah, it's the comics that do it at their early stages in their career are, I mean, it's admirable to do it at the early stages in your career, because you're setting a precedent of, this is who I am, this is what you get, and that's it. And what the benefit of that is, you don't have to change who you are later on in your career, because you don't have a mask on, you're not pretending to be somebody. This is you 100% giving your opinions fearlessly. But it's going to be a battle to get anybody to support that, because people are, it's so divisive when you give a definite opinion on something. It's like, I'm on this side and this side only. Well, then you're only going to get support from that side.
Well, I was gonna say, how do you have the balance though? Because you want to bring the authenticity, the realness to your comedy, and that's why people love you.
Yeah, it's something that I think, coming from where I came from, growing up in the South Bronx with a dad who was light skinned and a mom who was dark skinned, I saw both sides of the coin. Like, I saw how my mom was treated, I saw how my dad handled life and how my dad was treated and how they were treated differently. And so I had to step back and try my best not to have personal bias against people, because I wanted to understand where people were coming from. I always want to understand, why do you believe what you believe, before I even attempt to pass judgment, which is something we naturally do as human beings, although it's terribly wrong. We pass judgment on people right away based on our morals, our beliefs versus their morals, their beliefs. So instead of doing that, I'm always kind of taking a step back and kind of being like, okay, well, why do you believe that? And is there any way that we can have an open discussion about this, versus an argument where one of us gets too impassioned and then the discussion's over? You never learn from somebody when you're too busy in your own feelings. You know, when you have logic versus emotion, emotion will always win.
That's so true. I'm so glad you're able to come on the show as a comic and share these serious discussions with us. It really is important, and you're a real delight. I can't wait to chug this rum punch and watch your special a little bit later.
Yes, chug away for both me and the baby.
Yes.
Let's get the
girl, congratulations and good luck. Oh,
thank you so much.
I can't wait to see the baby.
You're gonna see all the pictures.
Just so you know, Felicia, John, and Deanna, those are all available names.
Okay, awesome. Good to know.
Combine them all into something a little masculine.
There's the info for the streaming show. Let's get Gina's information up there too, so you can see the pictures of the baby in just about a month. Gina, thanks so much for stopping on here. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for having me, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Ooh, I love July babies, not because me and John are July babies, but you know,
Right.
just because.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What sign is that? Leo?
Leo is late July.
Cancer.
Cancer's
Cancer.
early. Leo's the 24th on, so.
So
Okay.
you're a Cancer,
Um,
John.
I'm a Leo.
Oh, you're a Leo.
I'm a Leo. Mhm.
You're July 20 what?
7th.
Oh, I thought you said 17. Okay.
Yeah, y'all
All
can
right,
give
whatever.
me gifts.
We don't care.
Hey, Felicia, you want to talk about that barbecue thing we're doing?
Oh, John, I am starving right now. I wish you were at my house cooking. You guys, we are doing a jam backyard barbecue. We want your help, of course. If we're going to do this, we got to do it right. So we need all of our viewers to send us their recipes, things that they cook in the summer. We're looking for the meat and all that goodness, things that go on the grill. We're also looking for our veggies and our sides. We need it all. So send your recipe to jamrealshy@wciu.com. And of course, we got a whole bunch more information on cw26chicago.com. I've already submitted my my recipe. I feel
Me
like I
too.
should put a couple more on there too.
Yeah, I got a bunch more. I'm going to send them over to our social media Harry guy. He's helping us out. His name is Harry. He's not a hairy guy. But I've got some food to show off here at Goddess in the Grocer, by the
Oh,
way.
I'm starving.
By the way, this is the first day that their patio's open here. This is Damon right in front of me, and Milwaukee's just over there. So the 6th corner intersection, because they got Goddess in the Baker and some other places, but this is like half a grocery store too. They do some great stuff, including that Gay Pride rainbow cake I'm going to have in a little bit. But burger and fries, can't go wrong with that. It's yummy.
Yeah, just leave it right there. Just hold on. Let's
Yeah,
just
there it
savor
is.
the moment. Okay.
And then we got a watermelon and like a nice cheese salad, which
what
is
kind
really
of cheese
good.
is that?
Girl, I forgot what she said. It's like it's the white fluffy one.
Feta?
Yeah, we'll go with that for sure. And then I got a potato salad, which is really good too. It's not too heavy.
I mean, how
They're
many
having a
sides do
cookout.
you need, John? You're one person.
I know. Well, the rum punch is for 4, so we're proving that theory wrong. And then I'll show off desserts a little bit later on. But yeah, it's always nice. It's a great patio. It's cool to be out here. I'm just praying it doesn't rain again.
Oh,
It cleared up here already, so it's passing along.
Yeah, it's dark here on the south side. You guys know I'm in the
Yeah.
Bronzeville
Well,
area.
if the weatherman gets rain on, that's my own fault. Let's bring in Krista Green because there's few things I like to talk more about than deep theories about the Loch Ness Monster. And apparently, Krista's got some trending news on that. Hey, girl.
Oh yeah, guys. Did you guys see this on Twitter? It's blowing up. Okay, so I want to tell you all about it. So there was a tourist on vacation in Scotland, and he's sparking like a world debate right now. So he shared a photo from his vacation, but it wasn't like your find your beach kind of photo. It was this photo of a fish. Now, Daniel, if you could pull it up, we'll take a look at it. So people on the interweb are obviously assuming that this might just be, drumroll please, the Loch Ness Monster.
No.
The large fish just came to surface and left before he could get a better look. Now,
Photoshop.
this is what 2020 is giving us, a potential Loch Ness Monster sighting. So it's circulating all over social. I mean, people are obviously having fun with it, that it's trending, and it kind of takes our mind off of a lot of other news that we could be talking about. But this is what I love. There's more to the story. So the guy who took this photo was called out. People think it might be a little photoshopped, a little CGI, and he replied, "I'm not very good with CGI." Now leave it to the internet sleuths. They did some digging, found his LinkedIn, and discovered this so-called Loch Ness Monster photographer has worked as a 3D artist.
No.
Oh, but no, he said I'm not very good at CGI. That means you know how to
that's
do
the
CGI.
kicker, Felicia.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
come on,
this
dude.
is exactly
So also,
why.
One more thing. This is the cherry on top. The guy who took the photo will not share the SD card.
Oh.
That's the memory card for all of you who don't know what an SD card is. It's the memory card that holds the photo that took the
Yeah.
photo. So,
We're
I mean,
gonna-
I don't know,
we're-
guys. What do you think? Have we
we're-
found Nessie? Is this what 2020
No.
is giving us?
This
We're
is why I
rank-
have trust issues. This is why, because I can't trust anything and I have to double, triple, quadruple check everything. I mean, sheesh. You can't
Deanna,
even trust the people that put filters on their photos.
We went to a place I didn't think we were going to with that one. We discovered Deanna's trust issues. No,
Yeah.
this is what we call fake AF. So
Yeah.
I think
Oh
so
my
too,
gosh.
but there are some people on Twitter who think that it might just be a Wells catfish. So here's a photo of the actual fish that people are, that's kind of circulating.
Okay.
Really like this 300-pound fish.
Oh, that looks like it, yeah.
8 feet long. Yeah, they kind of think the pattern looks similar. So it could
Wow.
be, maybe it's just a real fish and it's just not the Loch Ness Monster.
Mm.
I don't
No,
know.
I don't see the yellow near the tail.
That's an impressive catfish.
Tiana's got her microscope out on these.
Well, it looks like a catfish. Catfish are bottom feeders. Maybe you don't see them at the surface as much like that. You know, maybe that's the connection there.
What is your knowledge of fish, Felicia? That was you spewed that off real well. Bottom feeder. That was great.
Hey, because I got to
Bottom
know a
feeder.
little bit about something before I put it on the grill.
Hey, next week I'll go broadcast live from Loch Ness and take a swim and find out.
So
Wait, that'd be great.
where
After
is
I
that?
shotgun the, yeah.
That picture was taken at the actual where what
Yeah, in
country?
Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, people are having fun with this. There's a couple memes that I thought were fun. If we want to pull those up, Daniel.
Hey, we've had crazier things happen in 2020. So
Exactly, and that's
why
what they're
not?
giving us right here. The fact that the Loch Ness Monster is the most tame thing 2020 has thrown at us. Agreed.
Yeah, look at how boring these people's faces look. They're like, yeah, whatever, Loch Ness Monster. Who
This
cares?
is all we've got. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that you're all aware and in on what's going on Twitter and the trending topics and what the world is talking about on the Twitter sphere.
Oh, girl, clearly it's going down the drain. It's all going down the drain.
They keep on bringing me some incredible food, by the way.
Okay, let me see.
This is
Oh.
the rainbow cake. They do this every year to celebrate Pride Month, of course. I don't even know how they do this, but it is incredible and it tastes really good. Here, you guys want to
You
bite?
won't
Hold
do
on.
it in front of
I
us.
do.
There you go.
Is that
Yeah.
cream cheese frosting? Go ahead and take a bite. How
Let
does
me
it
find out.
What's the texture like?
Oh, that is, I don't know. It's a little sweeter than what you normally think, and it's nice and creamy, so I bet it is, Felicia.
Yeah, does
Whatever
it
you
taste blue?
said.
Does it taste blue?
It tastes very blue, yeah. Mhm.
We
Does
gotta
that
see your
one-
tongue after it, John.
What about
That one's
that
yellow.
piece?
That one was yellow.
taste- okay, it tastes yellow.
And this one tastes like rum punch, so there you go.
Well, you keep drinking those, everything's gonna taste like rum punch.
Krista, thank you so much for hopping on in. We appreciate it.
Guys, I got you. I'll be back soon too, so don't you worry.
Okay,
All right.
girl.
All right, bye guys.
Right.
Hey, we got a really special guest next. We love catching up with Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, but especially today. She was on a panel discussion yesterday called Say Her Name to talk about Breonna Taylor and Sandra Bland, of course, that story that we know very well here in Chicago, and all sorts of things. And she's joining us now to talk about that discussion and plenty more. Lieutenant Governor, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. Hope everyone is well.
We are well, and I got to say, this is editorializing, but I think as a state, you know, really quickly, the coronavirus, we're looking at other states and their acceleration in cases. I imagine you and your administration pretty proud of the fact that Illinois residents have responded to this.
Well, absolutely. Clearly, this was a novel coronavirus. None of us knew fully what to expect. We just knew that cases had started to really expand, and we did not get a lot of, if any, real guidance from the federal government. So I really have to begin by commending Governor Pritzker as the leader of our state in making sure that we followed the science, that we followed the data, and certainly Dr. Ngozi Ezike from the Illinois Department, who leads our Illinois Department of Public Health, all have done a great job across the state. State employees have really stepped up to make sure we could save as many lives and keep people healthy in our state. And we're proud of the fact that even as we begin to move to phase 4 this Friday, we know that there are other states, 12 at least, that have seen record numbers of cases by opening too soon. We followed the data, we went cautiously, and we have a better sense of what people need to do to stop the spread. And to that end, I'll just make sure I repeat what I say all the time, and that is, please wear your mask.
Wear
I
your
got mine.
mask.
Always ready to go.
Right.
John
Lieutenant
is ready.
Governor, I know some people and family members, neighbors that I've talked to are, you know, a little nervous that you know, it's approaching, whether or not we were ready for phase 4. Do you have a message for families? And then I know you said wear the mask, but anything else they should have at the top of their mind when they are, you know, enjoying this phase 4, getting out, going back to some type of normal?
I think the most important thing for people to have at the forefront of their minds is that COVID-19 has not gone anywhere. We still do not have a vaccine. We still do not have a reliable treatment. What we would try to do from the very beginning is make sure that we did not overwhelm our healthcare system. If there had not been the precautions that were put in place, such as the stay-at-home order, and talking about washing your hands and physically distancing, we would have gotten to a place in our state, much like can happen in any place in the world, where there would not be enough hospital beds, ICU beds, ventilators, etc. So that's why we followed those numbers. What we are seeing right now is that we have been able to not just flatten the curve, but really be on a decline. And so we know that there are hospital beds and hospital capacity if there were to be a surge or something needed. But people need to continue to make sure that they act as if COVID-19 is a very real risk, being especially careful of the fact that there are some people that are more vulnerable, people who are older, people who have compromised immune systems. And that's why we wear masks. There's been a lot of, I think, real politicization around mask wearing. And that's something that I just never would have imagined. But wearing a mask is not just for yourself. It's not about, it's about the other person. And if we're going to be Illinoisans, all in Illinois, and recognizing that we have to be out of courtesy for one another, you don't know who has a compromised immune system. You can't tell by looking at someone who may have diabetes, hypertension, cancer, or something else that makes them more susceptible. So wear a mask and make sure you recognize that, stay physically distant, because COVID-19 is still out there.
Yeah, there's so many issues going on here. Lieutenant Governor, I appreciate you not shying away from them. About the panel discussion that you were in yesterday called Say Her Name, you talked about Breonna Taylor, you talked about Sandra Bland and racism, everything that's going on in our country right now. I think it's so important that we hear from our leaders, and that hashtag Say Her Name. We talk about George Floyd, and we talk about a lot of our brothers that have been killed by racism, but to be able to talk about the women that are being affected by this is equally as important.
Yeah, it's not just important. I think it's important to have the conversation. It's important to also ask the question, why is it the case? If we have, and certainly I don't by any means minimize the horrific tragedies that we have seen with so many unarmed Black men. We know that that is important for us to continue to fight for equal justice for all. But I do think it's an important question for us to ask when we see that, Breonna Taylor over 100 days ago was killed in her own home with a no-knock order, someone coming into her home, police coming into her home, shooting her dead while she slept. And we didn't really see the sort of outpouring of outrage immediately, at least not on a broad base, a broad level. After we saw the 8 minutes and 46 seconds of George Floyd having Officer Chauvin's knee on his neck, squeezing the life out of him, we saw people seeing that as something that led to now global protests and protests that are taking place in every single state of our nation, as well as big cities and small towns all across Illinois. Why is it different when it's women? And I think that we have to really have some real hard conversations about why that is the case, and really recognizing the intersectionality, as Kimberly Crenshaw would talk about, the intersectionality of race and gender, and how we still in our society, we have to keep fighting to make sure that Black women are valued as well as lifted up, because we also are victims of this level of police brutality.
These conversations are thoroughly important, and it's about time that people have conversations no matter what color your skin is, no matter what gender is, or what you identify as. But as Lieutenant Governor, what do you and the governor have planned in terms of moving forward to try and enact some changes? I know you're limited with municipalities, each having their own set of rules, but what are you guys planning going forward?
Well, I first of all, you're absolutely right. These are conversations, and when I say big cities and small towns, I am grateful that in places, including many rural communities across Illinois, places where people would not necessarily be inclined to have these kinds of conversations about systemic racism and some of the injustices that have happened. But right now, in this moment in history, they are talking about it, and they are having rallies and protests and march to peacefully proclaim that everyone deserves equal justice under the law. What the governor and I are doing is, first of all, there was a proclamation issued in honor of George Floyd and the many other names that of people that we have lost to police violence. And we've made it clear in that proclamation that Black Lives Matter in Illinois. And that means that we have to look at policies and practices to ensure that that's demonstrated, not just in our administration, but as we think about every level of how the state government works. The other thing is that we are working very closely with the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus on issues ranging from everything from police accountability and what kinds of things can be done at a state level. You're absolutely right. There are many things that need to take place at the local level, of municipal, of county levels. But what can we do at the state level? We also have to look at the investments that are being made. When we legalized adult use cannabis, for example, in Illinois as of January 1st, we wanted to create the most equity-centric adult use cannabis legislation in the country. And that includes 25% of the net tax revenues are being put aside to be invested in the communities most harmed by the war on drugs. So we're hearing a lot of conversation about investing in Black communities to make sure that we can bring not just justice through policing, jails, and prisons, which is what the old model looked at. This is about thinking about justice more comprehensively. How do we have investment in economic opportunity and in healthcare and food justice and making sure that there's access to nutritious food, to mental health services? All of these are going to make healthy communities. And I think that's what's at the core. Everyone wants to live in a safe and healthy community.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, and how and where do we start? Because we know that the younger generation, the millennials even, are going to be the next set of leaders in given X amount of years, let's say. So they're the ones that I've seen on social media be more vocal about the mistrust, about the stress, about just the anger that they feel on whatever level of government we're talking about. How do we bridge that gap? How do we get to have those conversations without, kind of blaming each other and finding a solution? I can imagine it can be kind of tough too.
Well, I'm a restorative justice practitioner and advocate. And what we often say in the restorative justice world is that the wisdom is in the room. And so, for example, when you see young people really leading the way, quite frankly, because I don't even see it as bumping heads. I am glad to kind of step aside and allow our young people's voices to be lifted up, because they are talking about a lot of issues that really affect them directly. We see young people talking about police being in their schools and how that contributes to the school to prison pipeline. We hear from young people saying every day, we want more investments in our community. We need job opportunities. We want to be successful, and we need to remove the barriers that keep us from being successful. All of it is important. I talked last week about my own dad, Henry Wiggins, who is now 87. And he marched from Selma to Montgomery in 1965 for voting rights. And I was reflecting on that in this time that we find ourselves in, that it's not about sort of saying who should be the one. It's about, at this moment, saying we all play a role. And some of us are going to march on the streets. Some of us are going to use social media. Some of us are going to use art and spoken word and music. Some of us are going to be policymakers as elected officials. But when we're talking about racial justice, there's space for everyone to play a role. The key thing for me is that you not sit this out. The key thing for me is that you don't sit on the sidelines and say, well, this doesn't matter to me or this doesn't affect me directly. It's about saying we all play a role and there's room at the table for everyone.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, I do have to say that I'm just so cautiously optimistic right now. I'm excited about everything I'm seeing. I'm excited to see so many people engaged in talking about the issues that have been an issue for a really long time. And a lot of our politicians have known that these are issues for a really long time. Like, are we going to see some action right now? Some things happen now. We don't have, months and years for legislation to be passed and to go through the House and the Senate. People need to see this now.
Yeah, well, first of all, I share your optimism. Even though it is a struggle, and even though there's a lot of feelings, and certainly over the last several weeks, if you are Black in America, I think the word exhaustion has come up at some point. I know I've felt it, because you do feel like You know, we've been fighting this fight for a long time and people are ready for action. What I can say is that I feel like there's been a shift, and that's what gives me hope as well. What we're seeing where people in all of these different countries, in Denmark and France and Brazil, all these different places that are coming together with the same message, that means something. And so now what has to happen is we have to make sure that action takes place. The governor and I have committed already to talking about how to support, for example, businesses in Black communities and making sure that there's some investments so that businesses can continue to have some level of equity. We have a Justice, Equity, and Opportunity initiative that I lead in the Office of the Lieutenant Governor that is specifically focused on how do we bring equity throughout state government, but also equity as we think about our criminal justice system. We have to look at policies that the governor and I were talking about even before the recent wave of protest. But it is important that laws are passed because we have different administrations. When you don't go through the process of making sure laws are passed, which are enacted in our Illinois state statute, that means things can come and go. And it's important to have some things that are sort of codified to make sure that no matter who's the governor or lieutenant governor, no matter when it happens, that these things are in place. So I think it's a combination of both. Yeah. Some policies we can enact right now without having the legislative process, but it's important that we work with our Illinois Legislative Black Caucus and come up with some policies that can be enacted in legislation so that they would endure this, withstand the test of time.
Lieutenant Governor, that's going to have to be it for today. Thanks so much for joining us, and ILL.
Thank you so much, I.
And let's get the information up on the screen. This is an important conversation, of course, one that's not ending now, thank goodness. Hopefully we'll continue. Lieutenant Governor Stratton, you can see the information there. And the hashtag All in Illinois, still important even as we move into phase 4.
There we go, guys. Great conversation. Let's go ahead and bring in our next guest, Morris Day, American musician, composer, actor, you name it. And guess what? We're talking about a special live show with a performance from Morris Day and the Time called Funk Corona. Morris, can you hear us?
Oh, now I do.
Oh, Morris, how are I would expect nothing different from the background, from the Funk Master, my friend.
I think you're about to take us to the moon and back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm excited to kick off this conversation. Tell us about this live show.
Well, it's called Funk Corona. And it kind of came to me like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was sitting around watching TV, getting fed up with all of the goings on, you know. So I just kind of said, Funk Corona. A little bit different pronunciations, flipped a few letters.
Right.
And, you know, so I got on the phone with my manager. I said, I got this idea, Courtney Vincent, manager. And, you know, we talked it up and started working on it. So we reached out to Bruce Soto Events and Bobby D Productions, and we all teamed up and we're putting together a great concert that we're going to bring to everybody's living room so they can party just like you watching us in concert.
Yes, there is nothing like funk to get you going, and I know I look like the least funky person out there, but even I get down for funk. So you're from Minneapolis too. I know there's a lot of famous performers from there. A lot of rich history in Minneapolis.
Yes. Unfortunately, Minneapolis isn't looking too good at the present moment, but musically, we had a really rich history there. So I'm glad to be a part of it. And, you know, that's the way I want to remember Minneapolis right now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead, Felicia. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we have to talk about your friend, your brother. We got to talk about Prince.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel, or do you feel any need to continue to keep his legacy alive in your music and just moving forward in life?
I can't get away from the brother, to be honest. You know, it's almost like he's still here because, you know, I always end up, you know, even in my private time, talking about him. And people ask me about him, and it's not a problem for me. You know, you know, we had our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, still brothers. So, you know, it's nothing that I want to get away from. You know, he taught me a lot. We learned a lot together, starting out as kids, you know, in the business. So it's all good.
Yeah, not to switch gears too much, but I'm curious. First, and I want to say thank you because even though you don't know when my birthday is, I feel like this is an early birthday present for me, the live show. So thank you, 'cause it comes
Well,
out
happy birthday.
July 10th. But it seems like it's much more than a show because the proceeds will actually benefit organizations.
Absolutely. We got Von Miller's charity. He's feeding kids. He calls it um, Von Sachs COVID, and he feeds hungry kids, which is throughout this whole ordeal an awesome cause. We're also hooked up with Direct Relief, which they supply the frontline responders with essential needs like face masks, sanitizer, or whatever it is. So, we thought that was all a good cause. So we partnered up with them. I don't want to say partnered up, but we're working, with them in association with them to put this whole thing together.
You've obviously appeared in a couple movies too. What do you like more, doing funk or getting in front of the camera, or is it a combination?
Oh no, it's not a combination. I'm losing my little earbud here.
That's okay.
I'm a musician, man. I like doing acting a little bit, but at the end of the day, I like being my own boss. There's too many bosses on a movie set. Folks tell me to get dressed, hurry up, be here, do that, and after a while, it's overwhelming.
Man, funk music. I mean, it's something that I think we all need a little bit of that right now. We all need a little bit of how it brings us together and what it happens, and how it pulls us together as a community, and of course how it's moving forward in the industry. I mean, I want to say, do you feel like it should be a influx with that, or an influx, a regeneration of funk music?
Well, I don't think it's going anywhere, especially when it's put down properly. When you see a live performance, a band playing all the real instruments, singing, even if it's a little out of key, it's real. and that's what it's all about for me. So we're keeping it real. And we got a great lineup. We got Cameo, we got the original Mary Jane Girls, we got Ready for the World. So Funk Corona is going to be a real nice party delivered right to your living room.
Now you encourage people not to. We don't want them watching on the couch. You want them standing up and moving when they're watching this thing.
Well, I was just watching the movie Ray this morning, and as Jamie Foxx put it, he said, "I won't make it do what it do."
Okay.
So if you feel like jumping up, which I'm sure you will, then you're going to jump up. So we're just going to leave it open and let it happen. We're going to make it do what it do.
I like that.
You're just too smooth for us, okay? You are too smooth for us.
Oh, appreciate that. I think I'll take that as a compliment.
I need a leather chair like that to sit in during these shows. I mean, you're just the epitome of cool right now.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
One last question before we let you go. I mean, I know that coronavirus and this global pandemic that we're living through must be very stressful and very unknown for a lot of people. But what a beautiful time and moment to bring in music, right? Bring in a specific type of music that makes you feel good, makes you want to move during this time, which a lot of people need a little bit of uplifting as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And even myself, I'm going crazy. I love my house, but damn, so I'm looking forward to getting back on stage with the fellas. We're going to have some special guests. I'm not going to say just yet, but it's going to be very exciting. And, I'm so looking forward to it.
I love my house, but damn is the motto of 2020, by the way. Morris, thanks so much for stopping on by. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get the information up for the great special that's coming up. Funk Corona. You got to say that slowly on pay-per-view on July
Morris Day,
10th.
the legendary funk
Legend. Thanks, Morris.
Oh,
all right, let's yeah, I can't wait. And it's a birthday surprise for you, Deanna. Let's bring in our good friends of the show. Let's get Krista Green and Brandon on up. How y'all doing here? Y'all feeling good? Y'all feeling funky?
Feeling so funky after that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love me some funky music.
Felicia, we got a 5-minute game to play. I got my cake here. You take it away, girl.
Okay, you keep chowing down over there. Let's get to it, you guys. We're gonna play before quarantine game, okay?
Ooh.
And I got some multiple choice questions for you, okay? So let's dive right in.
Are we raising our hands for the answer?
Sure, okay.
These are always so hard. Okay.
Right. Okay, the first one. Who was the last person to, let me move this, to drop out of the presidential race before quarantine?
I got it.
I was definitely first.
All right, go ahead, Brandon.
I'm going to say Elizabeth Warren.
Everybody.
I'm going to say, I agree with Brandon, Elizabeth Warren.
What? You guys, it was Pete Buttigieg.
I literally was gonna say it, but the question went away.
Wait.
I just wanted to make
You said
sure.
the last person.
No, I think
No.
they're right, Brandon, because Buttigieg dropped out.
It was
Super Tuesday
last.
came after quarantine, and
Yeah.
that's when we saw Warren. So nope, you're right. It's
It was
Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg. Mm-hmm.
Brandon's good friend, yeah.
I'm that meme right
Okay,
now with like all
question
the
number two.
signs and maps
We'll have to
coming
check on that one. It was Warren, but okay.
Question number two. Which celebrity announced their pregnancy before quarantine?
out. Ding, ding, ding. Katy Perry. C.
Okay, well, there we go. Number
It was in a
three.
music
I don't
video.
know that.
Nobody else even got a chance to answer.
Look, I'm 2 for 2 right now. Don't even talk to me.
Where was the last Bull games played? The last
Oh.
Bulls game.
The Bulls.
I'm going
Cleveland.
to say it was
Cleveland.
in
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
It was Chicago.
Oh, gosh.
We talked about this. They lost, didn't they?
The
This
home
was.
game.
I mean, of course they lost. It's the Bulls.
I mean, but this was a question
Wait a
that was
minute.
used before.
Okay.
Then.
Wait a minute.
Mhm,
Watch how you talk about the Bulls.
This game
wait.
gets harder when we're in month 4 of this damn thing, let me tell you.
It feels like so long ago, right?
It might as well be BC time instead
We're
of before
pretty far
Q.
removed here.
I mean, I love my house, but damn.
Damn.
Okay.
All right, what do we got?
number 4. Which famous celeb couple split before quarantine?
No idea.
Mm.
Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott.
It's a guess. Yeah, I'm going to say A as well.
What? You guys, that was
No.
a time ago that they split. Go ahead, Krista, save us.
Mm.
A long time ago.
Did Ashley Benson?
Yes. And Cara Delevingne, yes.
I don't
even
know
who Ashley Benson is.
I
Oh
don't
my
know
gosh, she was on Pretty
either
Little
of those.
Liars.
Don't even know what that is.
Okay, let's see if we can get in
Lucy,
one.
hey, hold on. Oh, we'll talk later, guys. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, let's try to get in 1 or 2 more. Which was the last state to place a stay-at-home order?
Ooh,
Bah.
Texas.
Texas.
South Carolina.
Ooh, I knew it was the South, though.
I thought
yeah,
it was, I would have thought it was Texas too. Okay.
I knew
Yeah.
it was red. That's all I know.
Had to be a red state. Had to be a red state.
Okay, which first-time attendee swept the awards at the Grammy Awards Show?
No, Lizzo.
Oh.
Lizzo, I'll go Lizzo.
Billie Eilish.
Oh,
It's
that's
Billie
it.
Eilish.
Yeah.
It was Billie Eilish. Although Lizzo is a really good guess because she had such an incredible year. Her song and music was literally everywhere. But it was.
I just remember because I had never really heard a Billie Eilish song, and I'm like, why is she winning everything? And I looked it up.
Then,
You have
Yeah.
her song. She has that bad
bad guy.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
she doesn't
God.
really sing. She just goes, huh, huh.
Ocean Eyes. Okay, guys. No. Well, again, we got to talk about
Let's
this.
not
We'll
sing
talk
it.
offline.
There
It's
is
not a
no
Grammy.
singing. That's the thing.
We've got a
Here's
lot
the
of work
last
to do.
one, guys. Which MLB team shocked the world with scandal? With a scandal.
Houston Astros.
Houston.
Houston Astros.
Yeah, we
I'm
all
proud
got
of
that.
myself for that one.
Okay.
Is that it? Was that
That's
the
it.
answer?
It's okay. Time for one more. Here we go.
Was it Houston?
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Houston Astros.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you got it
Y'all
right.
know I don't know sports.
So, who announced they'd be stepping back from certain aspects of their lives?
We all know
See,
this.
we
Come
all know
on,
that
let's
one.
see.
It's C. You're right.
Our boss Sophia put that question
Harry.
in there, and we were going to be fired if we got it wrong. So that was a test from the boss. you know.
I could
glad
care
everyone's
less about the
fast here.
Royals, but I know that one.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, looks like we got a wrap.
That was a speed run. I liked it.
Yeah, I
You
won.
did pretty good. I'm proud of you.
Can I just give one more shout out to where I am, the goddess in the grocery that let me
Show us
hang
the
out
Yeah.
here.
burger. Show us
How's
the
that
burger
cake? Did you
one more
finish
time.
it?
The burger I already wrapped up for home, but it's a great
Oh.
view out here. They just opened up the patio here today. They also have some sidewalk eating too. They got a grocery store downstairs. They had food, and they wanted me to mention they're selling Black Lives Matter macaroons. Macarons? How do you say that? Macaroons?
Macaroons.
Macaroons.
And all the proceeds go to My Block, My Hood, My City too, which is really great
that.
stuff.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's really
Good
cool.
stuff.
And it's a great place. I'd actually never been here, but right in the Wicker Park area, just north of the 6th Corner intersection on Damon. Come check them out.
That's what's up. I love it.
Tomorrow I'm doing karaoke at 11 a.m. at Trader Todd's. That's all I'll say about that.
So that means stay away.
You guys, this was pretty fun. I think we should do it all again tomorrow.
We should. A couple times, how about?
That's right, guys. Make sure you tune in 9 a.m. for news, and then we're having important conversations and, of course, all the fun at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Make sure you check us out.
Ciao.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.